March 26, 2025. All meetings in order. Item number 1 is minutes of March 11.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of March 11, 2025.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0. Warrants and financials.
Make a motion to sign the warrants and financials.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0. Pat and heads.
We had to put a bunch of stone up in the hallway to get that dried up, and that's one of the worst roads we took it had, but all the roads are good and had now, even after the storm we got last night. I went around and checked them today, and they're still had, so as soon as the snow melts, so I can, I'm gonna take them grading and get them smoothed up again. I gave you guys the estimate on it, but for the pump station 5, we gotta take and put new rods down in there that the pumps run on, because one of them, the rods have rotted right off, and so we had to shut that pump off, so we can't use it. And that's a proposal that this is what it's gonna cost to get it fixed. So if we could get a vote on that tonight, so I could get a hold of them so they can get the stuff coming, so. And that pump went down Friday, so I had to have Stevens come up and fix it. It was something to do with the floats. It was, had to fix that.
So here, motion on Stevens, $6,809.89.
Make a motion for Stevens Electronic Pump Service for $6,809.89.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0.
And then the sewer line up on North Main Street that we raised money for in town meeting. Sure, I can get a hold of them guys to get it scheduled so they can put it on a schedule to get it fixed. So I'll give her a call tomorrow. And then I got the proposal for the under drain that needs to be fixed up there. And I'm going to copy it off and I'll give you guys all a copy of that. We just have to have it signed by May 31st, so we can take and get it on the schedule, and I'll give it to you so you can take and read it, so we can do it for next meeting.
Okay.
The as equipment goes, that's all up and going. Other than that, everything's going okay.
Any questions?
So you were talking about the generators?
Oh, yeah, that's one other thing. That is a proposal for the quote to get the generator hooked up down here in the town office and the one for the highway garage.
You already got a disconnect at the garage.
He's gonna use the what he can from the disconnects and that we got from the fire station, both fire stations. So he's gonna use everything that he can, and this is just for the new parts that he's gonna take care of, so.
A motion on that?
Make a motion to set up both generators, one at the highway garage and one at the town office.
Yeah.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0. Stacy?
So far, since our last meeting, we had one structure fire up in North Anson. I believe we had a car accident up in Emden. I believe the total Emden calls right now is, I believe it's gonna be 13 total up there for Emden. Heating oil for the South Station this past month was $217.43. Material for parking lot for the North Station was $255.80 from Mattingly Products. IPS came and did our service on all the compressors and bottles. That was 2 bills. One was $1,797.04. Another one was $1,120. We had the rest of my firefighters do their respiratory evals. That comes to $336.50. And we also did extinguisher maintenance, and we needed 2 new water extinguishers for a couple of the fire trucks, and that was $1,582.50. Give us a grand total of $5,091.84 for the budget for.
How much was that?
$5,091.84. That's tail end of February into March invoices. And also Nancy wanted me to do up the payroll for last year's November and December. That was $5,624.
So in previous payrolls, we've gotten a sheet like this, which we didn't get.
Yes, Jeremy, I think, was supposed to drop one off when I called him the day we were down here doing that. I don't know if he did or not.
Well, he dropped off something, but it's not this.
It's not the detailed one of what
Right.
everyone got.
Right. Is this possible to get?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Is Jeremy the one to talk to about the difference in hours?
Yes, and there was one click of the button because some of it was like the 2 full-timers at automatic ducts, their shift work, and I clicked no on the other on the button. I should have clicked yes, and that's why there was a differential in the thing. But I also went down through call sheet to call sheet and what Jeremy put in, and everybody's hours total up to what was on the spreadsheet. So
Well, when I don't have the sheet in front of me that I reviewed. No, yes, I do review. So. I'll use this. I have to go with the full sheet.
Is there a CAD number on this?
or
CAD number?
we don't use the CAD numbers anymore. It's
Not on that?
no. I mean, it's something that, we have to, Jeremy and I can come in and sit down with, if Sharon wants to sit down with us or Nancy or decipher it all out, because this new program is a little bit different than our other one where we're here.
So there was like happening over here.
Do you mean,
Here.
yeah, or do you mean what?
But
No, what date it was on?
so if you go over here, this says 8. This says 8.5. Those are the discrepancies I have. All these are on circle. Circles. One of them had 3. I just wanted an explanation for why.
Yeah, well, that's something we can come in and talk about.
Okay.
So, anything else?
No, I believe that's all I got.
So you you are up to date on all your expenses.
What's that?
You are up to date on all your expenses as far as the expense reports.
Other than I haven't received anything from Beeline or like Central Main Power, I haven't received anything for the end of this month for that yet.
And that'll work itself out as far as, Good.
You all set with the chief? Thank you. Selectmen concerns, MDOT bridge work.
Exciting.
Yeah, we also had a meeting with DOT yesterday morning. We sat with them, we played with the lights for about an hour or so, and they got a new emitter that goes on top that actually picks up the red strobes. It picks up red strobes, blue strobes, and a white strobe. So it'll automatically tell the sensors to go red, and which direction the strobes are picked up on, it will show green. And it actually worked quite well. The only flaw I saw in it this morning was one of the guys that was actually working on the bridge. It picked up one of those white strobes on the grill. He was in the working lane, and it stopped traffic for like 5 minutes, and it kind of got a little hectic. But then he kind of got looking around and saw that traffic was standing still, and he's like, then all of a sudden I could see the strobes turn off on his grill, so he kind of knew that he kind of muffed that whole thing up. But otherwise, right now it's worked pretty well. We'll see when Friday comes and Saturday when it gets really busy, what it does.
So we have a modern pest control quote.
Do we do that?
It was in your last packet, and I texted everybody
Yeah.
and said, "These right there, yeah, if you took it home,"
Yeah,
because I took mine home.
so this didn't, so what is it?
Oh, it's the total.
Total annual agreement, 1 year is 1761.
We have an infestation of ants.
We also have a 5% prepay, which would bring it down to 1672.
We prepare.
If we prepay.
We get 5%. I thought this.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion for pest control iron to prepay it the 5%, so we get the 5% off, $1,672.95.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0. K-Tronics quote for fixing the cameras. I see Mr. K-Tronics is here.
We have one.
Oh, I saw it.
I
I'll be taking it home.
don't sit. Can you speak?
You have the quote with you?
I do not. I'm actually here on ATV Club business. I wasn't anticipating being on the agenda for the electronics, but I can try to answer any questions you may have. I don't have the quote with
So
me.
there's some cameras in the office that aren't working.
So we have the camera in the hallway is the only one that's actually non-functioning right at the moment. We were able to resurrect this. There was a few problems. We were able to overcome everything except the hallway camera. The hallway camera is unrecoverable, and part of the quote was a discussion of replacing the recorder. The recorder is antique as electronics go, and I believe we figured out that it was 11 years old, and it's got some issues, and it's no longer supported. My vendor's not working with that manufacturer any longer. They're working with a different company, and it's difficult to get tech support out of my company in Las Vegas for that product. we've got a few hours in doing our best with it. I suspect that it's gonna continue to be problematic. It's as electronics of that nature go, it's pretty old. My proposal was, I believe my proposal was to replace the one camera in the hallway, the recorder, reuse the hard drive that's existing in the current recorder, reuse all of the other cameras. The other cameras are working fine. There are better, higher resolution cameras available now, but those cameras will work as well as they always have. So, I don't have the numbers in front of me though, it wasn't,
Did you find it? Nope.
No. Let's see it.
Well, we'll have to put it
Oh,
off.
wait a minute.
Wait,
Oh, this is it. This is it. Review a proposal. Where's his phone number? $1,350, sounds all right?
sounds familiar.
That's for a camera, 400, recorder 5, materials, state exempt installation. And what you had talked about. We don't have one on here, do we?
no,
This is
only one.
voting issues.
Right.
So we use that, we put up one ourselves.
Would you like to look at this?
Yeah.
How many cameras are up there?
There's a total of 6 cameras in the system, counting the one that's currently not functioning. I was gonna try from memory to explain to you where each of them are.
Is there a motion on that?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So it's just, this quote is just for the camera in the hallway?
It's to replace the camera in the hallway and to replace the recorder, which is becoming outdated, but again, recycling the hard drive that's in the current recorder. Savings of about $350 by reusing the hard drive.
See you want to check?
Yeah, we'll do something.
Okay,
The whole-
okay, make a motion for K-Tronics to come in and repair and replace for $1,350.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0.
Probably my bad.
So the hydrants that you asked about, the big bill on the hydrants last year,
Yes.
one of the January bill from this year got paid last year. So we're gonna take that out and bring it forward.
Okay.
The auditors, when they get here,
All right.
Town of Madison is requesting Anson to pay a portion of fireworks. I don't know, that's a pretty voted on budget, as far as I know.
Yeah, that's, we got $6,000 in it, right? Did we ever pay for the fireworks?
No. I thought we did. I thought we always paid half, but we never have paid anything on it. But the fireworks went up 25%,
We'll have to revisit that. I don't know if we have any. So the RSU 74 budget timeline, voting is on Tuesday, June 10th, from 10 to 6. And that is one of our meeting nights, so we need to change that night.
the third state.
Backup copy.
Been proposed to change it to Thursday, the 12th. Is that okay with everybody?
That was April,
That is June.
June. So I guess I was reading other stuff. What are you talking about?
The budget.
RSU 74 budget is going to be voted on paper ballot here on June 10th, from 10 to 6. Is a Thursday night okay?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
Okay.
Is a Wednesday Wednesday night, okay with you? Sharon, is Wednesday okay?
She's looking.
Well, we're looking.
Let me see. Yep, that'll work.
Okay, Wednesday the 11th, 6 o'clock. Okay, spring cleanup. This is when we put the dumpsters out here. I propose we cut it down a day and be on from the 24th to the 27th of April. Start on a Thursday and end on a Sunday.
So instead of Wednesday, we're gonna
Instead
start
of Wednesday,
Thursday.
it starts on Thursday.
Should be 4 days, right? And do we have a crew that's gonna do this?
Not Jack.
No?
Looking for volunteers. So you want to do it from
Thursday?
the 10th to
The
the
24th to the 27th.
24th to the 27th.
It's okay.
Make a motion for the third annual spring cleanup to be April 24th through the 27th. And it'll start on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0. Any other selectmen concerned? Public session. Yes, sir.
My name is Jeff Ireland. I am the Vice President, Trail Master, Madison Anson ATV Club. I am not a resident of Anson, so I don't know if I'm able to speak, but my president of the club is over here, and board of directors here if you'd rather have them speak, but this has been kind of my organization as far as
I
my...
think we can let you speak.
All right. I have a packet that I put together for the selectmen. I have a couple of extras. I wasn't anticipating this part of the crowd. I have some components that they're interested. As part of what had happened, as a result of Tammy's passing, was that a couple things probably, I mean, you guys obviously have been scrambling to bring things together. One of the projects that she and I and Artie were working on last fall was a project to bring to the annual town meeting a vote to the public to see if we could allow some certain roads to be used for ATV access to make some connections for our trail system. In the packet, there are a number of exhibits. The bottom of page 1 basically is the short version. That's the most recent history. It kind of explains that in September we had a series of communications by phone call, email, and meetings in person between Tammy, Artie, and myself. And basically, Tammy had presented me with a map that her and Artie had worked up of what they thought would be possibilities for road access. In the packet, there is a map that was presented to me. Now, I will say that I messed up. I'm rushing around putting this together. The map on page 3, I realized after I put the packet together, was not a color photocopy. So on the last page is the same map, but it actually has the color, has the highlighted of the roads. Also included is a list of the roads, just for reference purposes of what is highlighted. And then Exhibit 4 is our request. What we're asking for, what the club is asking for, is for the select board to call a special town meeting for the purpose of allowing the residents of Anson to vote on ATV access. We're not really sure exactly what the warrant article language should be, but what we're asking for basically is to approve certain roads in Anson specified on the exhibits, and also to allow the select board to make decisions regarding future additions or deletions from the list of approved roads through regularly scheduled select board meetings rather than annual town meeting. And the cause for that is if there's determined a need for XYZ road to be added to the list in August or September, this would allow that to happen by the powers of the select board. And again, that's not really, that's on our wish list. The biggest priority we'd like to see is we'd like to put forth before the residents if they'd like to do the roads on the map. And I think that's a pretty concise description of why I'm here. I'm answer any questions that I can, and I also have a few extra copies of this if anybody would like this as well. I will say that there was I'm not sure the lingo, I think it was a public forum where the public was invited to voice their opinions on this last fall, and I wasn't present for that. But
Yes, we had a meeting, not a public hearing, but a meeting, just to get some views of the people. And I believe we do have to have a public hearing once we know the wording and everything. We'd have to have a public hearing before the vote,
okay.
I believe. So it'll take a little time to get there, but I think we can get there.
Absolutely, my purpose is to try to set things in motion, that's all. Yep. Thank you.
Anything else? Yes.
Hi, my name is Luke Ellis. I have a long personal story involved in this, but really, I just want to know if you would consider the possibility of putting into policy that when someone transfers their plates over to a new vehicle for registration purposes, that the options to them be presented in writing. Because I had a rough, sad realization recently about my own experience with that. When you have an existing plate and you buy a new vehicle, you can transfer your registration to that plate, and then it expires sometime whenever that was going to expire. Your other option is to register your new vehicle new, and it turns out the difference between those things can be many hundreds of dollars that someone might lose because they're not aware of the option that they have, which, to be totally frank and fair, is on me for not knowing my stuff. And it's very sad, and I'm very ashamed as the financial person for my household to have done this to us. But so I think if I had been presented in writing what my two options were, any sane person would have chosen to get a new plate and not pay basically the same price for half a year instead of be registered for a whole year, which is an awful lot of money on a new vehicle. Between $400 and $500 for me personally, in addition to the fact that every renewal going forward will also be more than it would have otherwise been. So this will compound to probably some number of thousands of dollars of impact to my family for some stupid thing that, again, as a 36-year-old adult, should have probably already known. But my exact words when I did it to the person who helped me do my registration in the town office was, "I trust you," which, and then I later called and was told that they hoped that I had learned my lesson, learned a lesson. It was not quite so clear. I'd spent a day or two, so I've calmed down a lot, which is great, because a lot of crying would have happened if I had been here yesterday. But I want to consider the possibility that when someone's going to transfer registration, that they be presented by default as a rule with no option in writing what their options are for that, so they can clearly understand the financial impact of, like, no license plate is worth $500.
Yeah, I don't know why you can't do that.
Thank you.
So they didn't explain that to you?
Huh?
They didn't explain it to you?
If they did, they didn't do it in a way that was clear enough to me to know, because I think any sane person would have said, ooh, do I want to spend $1,050 and have a whole year of a registered vehicle, or do I want to spend $950 and have 7 months of a registered vehicle? I think any sane person would have made the right choice there. But if it was insinuated to me in some way, and it could have been because I came in thinking falsely that if you register a vehicle for 7 months, you only pay 7/12 of the cost, which, as all of you who actually know things about stuff know, isn't the case. You spend the full excise tax no matter how long the registration is. I didn't know that at 36. I don't know how many more times this has happened to me prior to this one, but this was actually a new vehicle, so it was significantly more impactful. And I didn't find out till 2 months later when a friend said, it seems like you paid twice as much as you should have. And so I called in to ask about it. There was absolutely no sympathy or remorse or apologies. I did call the Bureau of Motor Vehicles to find out if I had any recourse legally or financially, like can I get some kind of credit for being an idiot. And they were very kind as they told me that no, I had absolutely no financial recourse and there was no way of getting any of these dollars back for my family. But that, and much more kindly told me that they were glad that I know this going forward.
They told you the same thing.
They also told me that they were glad.
I'm sorry, I've been at it a long time.
They were very polite at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. Yeah, and I was like, my biggest thing, so I'm sad and ashamed for me and my family. We will weather this financially. My kids will eat. There will not be any problem there. But there are lots of people who wouldn't. And that made me much more upset.
They need to make people more aware.
We'll do it, we'll get that up. Some kind of notice. Thank you for bringing that up. Anything else? Harold?
After reviewing all your budget cuts for the fire service, I have a couple questions. One, I heard you say that you cut the full-timers' hours by 10 hours.
You did?
And you reduced pay to minimum wage
Yes?
for them as well.
No.
Okay, my question to you is, okay, you cut their hours by 10. How do you do that with a salary? Are they still getting paid the same?
They are told, well, actually, we have found out that we signed a contract with them for 50 hours. So until we get that settled, they will be paid 50 hours.
Okay. And now that I got an answer to that, which isn't much, but.
How long is that contract for?
It's no end to it.
So it's forever?
It's a no-ending contract, is the way it was written.
Exhibit B.
So those positions are there till return of time, unless, well, you just said it's a never-ending thing. So,
Unless the town votes to do away with it.
okay, so the town has to vote to do away with those positions.
No, actually, it could change depending on the person. The person signed off on the contract and we signed off. If we change personnel, it could change. We would sign a new contract.
Okay.
But for the personnel that we have, it would remain
Until they get done.
until they get done.
Okay. Now, back to the budget cuts. After reviewing it, they're not realistic. Somebody just went down through and subtracted numbers from wherever to make this work. Because there are lines that are over right now, and I know it's not a line item budget. So I just wonder, you guys didn't give this any thought. You did this in 3 days. 3 days, you cut $150,000 out of a budget by just sitting there with a calculator and keep deducting until $150,000 is gone.
I don't think so. I don't think we took 3 days. We were in this process for quite a while.
How could
Before the
you
town
be-
meeting.
How could you be in the process for quite a while? You didn't know anything about it until town meeting.
Town meeting, the buzz around town from certain people were saying that they were gonna get rid of full-time people. And that was your option, wasn't it? But you
Could
didn't
have
word-
been.
But you didn't say it right.
There
So
was
then,
nothing,
we had to,
Well, that would have been considered bashing the fire department.
yep,
If anybody
Correct.
speaks the truth,
correct. So we can't get rid of full-time people we had to cut the budget to keep them in place. You just can't let people go.
You can't? They do it every day.
No, it's a contract.
Okay, but you just told me,
Listen,
you just told me that if the town's body or townspeople vote, we can eliminate them. Is that not correct?
the townspeople are our boss. At this last town meeting, you cut the budget $150,000.
Yes, I did.
And I don't know how you expected us to cut the budget, other than go down through and subtract $150,000. Some things, we've already had a quarter of the year.
Well, I know.
So those things are there, they've already done, we have to pay them. So we've only got 3/4 of the year to work with, to cut $150,000.
Yeah. So,
I don't know how much you do it besides go down through and cut.
okay. Understood.
Cut the positions would be more legal than discriminating and creating a hostile work environment.
I don't know who we discriminated against.
Part-timers versus full-timers.
Yeah, part-timers versus
Part-timers go
full-timers.
down to minimum wage and the full-timers get 10 hours of overtime a week? Forever?
Well, 50 hours is 10 hours over 40.
Yeah, but it wasn't a time and a half.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to know, with the articles, the way they were written in the last town when we voted, there was no option to remove. The articles were put together, so we had no option to state, do we want the full-timers or not? Somebody put those two articles together, which they should not have been put together. We hadn't had that prior to. Somebody decided that we're gonna put them all together and either they'll vote it or they won't. And so this is why we have the problem now with the cutting of the 150,000, because you guys have to do the line item, take away, because you refuse to see that there's more people in the town that would really rather not have that extra expense of the full-timers for one structure fire and a few accidents and a bunch of calls for the ambulance. That's a lot of money for this small town when we've had the volunteer firefighters for years who have been more than capable to take care of these, the North Village and the South Village, along with our neighbors who have helped out with mutual aid. That's what you guys have taken away from the voters by combining that. We had no choice in saying we want full-time, we don't want full-time. And that 150 was implied, and everyone knew it was implied, to take care of that position or those positions as full-time firefighters. And then to cut it from the volunteers, that's a slap in the face. It's completely wrong to say, oh, the volunteers get nothing because we have these two that do everything. Well, they're only on the clock. I know Mr. Hopper does come around because he's closer on the evenings and weekends. He's a little more involved. But does he get the minimum wage as the volunteers do after hours? Do we pay him that extra as well if they show up? Oh, that's a yes. That's a yes. So the volunteer firefighters, why do we need volunteers then?
So,
Why is it salary if they're getting paid after hours too, showing up? Isn't salary for the week, 50 hours for the week, no matter how many hours you work?
that's what salary always was in my book. But now, when they come in to a call after hours, are they being paid time and a half? Because legally, they are a town employee working for the town after their normal shift. Like highway, they come in after hours, they get paid time and a half.
Salary don't.
They're not getting paid time and a half when they come in on weekends. What? Excuse me.
What?
Sorry, they're getting paid as volunteer firefighters.
Yes.
So they're getting their regular stipend. And so do they get minimum wage, or do they get their average hours that they would, the $19, $20, whatever it is that they make?
After hours.
Anything that
minimum
their
wage.
work shifts during the week, when they go on a call, they will be paid minimum wage, like we are.
The last time,
I want a job to come.
the last two times that the full-time firemen were on the town meeting warrant, they were accepted at town meeting by a majority of the people.
Correct, it was close, but it was done by the majority. I think,
That tells us that the majority of the people,
So why was
That's
it
fine.
combined this year instead of separate?
after 3 or 4 years, when things are, something is like that, they get combined.
But it's a separate, completely separate than the actual fire department, but operating costs. It's like something completely separate than the actual volunteers.
If you just said you want to get rid of the full-time firemen,
I want to get rid of the full-time firefighters.
and you're on 150,000, and people voted for that, it would have sent us that message.
but listen, we get bashed if we open our mouth about anything to do with the full-timers.
You don't have to bash them to get up.
I didn't say that, but I would not say that there because we get accused of anything we say to do with the full-timers, anything, I don't care what it is, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to him. And
Careful. Don't be rude to the selectmen. Don't be rude.
There's nothing rude about
We
that.
will, we will stop this conversation right here if you're rude to us. End of story. So, continue.
but
It's
history
always gotta be rude to
says-
Townspeople, but not the other way.
You can leave. You can leave.
I'm here.
that
We will
we
close the
can't
meeting.
open our mouth up
That's
there
the way you guys are.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
Retaliation.
without repercussions. And that's the God's honest truth. And if you don't believe me, you know me, Arnold, I speak the truth. Whether I want to say it or whether you want to hear it. And I'll say it to any one of you 5 sitting there. I will go head to head with anybody because I know the truth and I will speak the truth.
So you must have a budget.
Do I have a budget?
must have a budget.
You must have a budget, why you took out
I did.
150.
I presented it and I had it cut. I cut those positions.
Exactly. You can't cut positions if it's not on, at the town meeting, what they're doing. What
Okay,
you're cutting.
so it takes a special town meeting.
It took the town meeting.
Okay.
You had the right to do it. You had the right to stand up and say, I'm gonna take $150,000 out of this budget for the full-time employees. And then you would have voted on it.
Okay.
You took it, $150,000 out of the budget without saying where or what or when.
Because we can't.
And a normal board would have looked at it, that some of these things you guys cut is illegal to cut, like the mandatory trainings and stuff, the cutting of people's wages, that's all gonna come back to bite this town. You guys exhibit up to, what, Z now, you guys can't, you guys don't know what you're doing, you guys need something. And another question is, what is happening with the administrative advisor? Is that looking for a new position, is that part-time now or what?
We're looking for someone, haven't found anybody.
Okay. So that part's answered for me, thank you.
I have a question to ask Stacy. Have you cut any of your training yet, or meetings?
Well,
Are you
when we-
getting paid right now for mandatory meetings?
Not mandatory meetings, but when we have to do mandatory trainings.
They are
Because
being
when we
paid.
have trainings, in the policy, it states if anybody gets hurt, because we're on town's time doing training, we would not be covered if somebody gets hurt.
I'm good.
And the training was one of the things that was cut, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I talked to Arnold last week, because Jeremy had talked to me and we was talking about other stuff, but he says, I understand of cutting everything that you did, but he says when it comes to training, which I said we have to show so many hours of training per year for Bureau labor standards, I says we probably should be on them, be paid, because, like he said, if somebody gets hurt and workman's comp gets involved and all that good stuff, the town's gonna be liable, and it's just a,
Absolutely. It's.
So, I have a question
Yes.
there. Where the articles were combined, can we have in the next meeting, or how do we propose to remove the 2 full-time firefighter positions as a community?
I don't know, I would have to research that.
You don't know. You know how to put the articles on, so how would we?
Well, we need to, legally, we need to check and see what our standards are.
Well, I know legally what I can do, but I want to know what we can do.
We'll get back to you, I think,
Okay.
after we research that.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Is there a timeline on that? Like how long, by the next meeting, maybe you'll have that answer, or?
Yes, we'll have something by the next meeting.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
I have one more thing that was over last year's budget. Why was the full-timer line over by 28,000?
what is that figure, that figure sticks up, because Nancy and I talked about it. I'd have to talk to Nancy to have her remind me, because
So-
I think that has something to do with new family medical leave and something else.
Well, it's
Not that
Insurance.
not that much.
No, there was
there
other
was,
things
there
that
was
were in
something
it.
that
So,
was,
so their budget for this year is $200,000.
No.
Okay, so something went down.
I think we need to look at everything, because I can't come off with figures off the top of my head.
Okay, I was just pulling these numbers out of the town report that I didn't get a very good explanation at town meeting, so I'm trying to get a
Let
little.
us look at it again, and we'll see if we got answers next meeting.
And also, I never did get a real good explanation for what the fire department budget was over for $68,000 for last year. I got, a fire truck payment of this or that. Well,
one was a $27,000 finance charge that came out of my budget for the new fire truck. One was the insurance.
why did it come up?
Just-
We have the
Yeah,
truck
no,
account for that.
It was just pulled out of the wrong account. It didn't get coded to the right account, and it got pulled out of my operating account.
That's as simple as recoding it and get it to
Yeah,
the
it
proper
was done
line.
towards the very tail end where everything was all done, where they.
So, I'm
One
guessing,
was-
so was that payment done in December?
No, it was before that.
Okay,
It was-
so,
It was well before that. It was like, I think, it's like October, I believe, or something like that.
okay, so, sounds to me like October would have been time enough to recode that right, had somebody been paying attention to the budget.
Yeah, and the other thing was a bunch of life vests were purchased before water rescue, which I didn't know about. Was purchased because I guess people were upset that the full-timers had their own life vest, and other people in the fire department jumped up and down like little kids saying they wanted their own with.
I think if that was correct.
That's how it was portrayed to me, so.
Well, okay, but I think what that was for is we did some water training that they went out and bought them for us to do. Not that, I mean,
Yeah, when I talked to the instructor, he was gonna bring some of his own life vests for everybody to use, but some got purchased. The other thing was the insurance on the new building was a cost that was more than what we anticipated.
The two that was purchased were locked in their lockers, so none of us that were qualified could have access to them.
So, I mean, it was other expenses like that that was,
okay. But it was done without your knowledge?
few of them, yeah.
Sounds to me like there needs to be a little more involvement in what is going on in fire service.
Yeah, well, there was some that was made on a credit card that I didn't know about, and so I had Kim pull me a bunch of records and stuff of stuff that was paid out on the credit card. And
So we, as the fire department, have a credit card?
no, that will never happen.
Okay, well, no, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this, okay? It bothers me that we're not keeping track. If we were over by 68,000 and some change last year, and we cut the budget this year, we're just gonna have another town meeting to get money. It sounds to me like that's the easiest way.
We are keeping track better. We are keeping track a lot better.
Okay,
And I think Stacy knows to keep track better.
Yep.
People are buying things and not telling her until they get here. Can't happen. All right,
Yeah, I'm good.
anything else? Yes.
Mine should be easy, I hope. It won't be better than anything. I'm Janice Miller, for anyone who doesn't know, Chair of the Planning Board. When Leo was around, I've been on the Planning Board 5 years, so when Leo was here, he always came in an hour early. I met him, we got the paperwork ready, got everything set up. Jeff comes in 10 minutes early. If he comes, he doesn't require to be at our meetings every time, and he doesn't. All of that to say, I have no way to get in the building to take care of the paperwork and have a meeting. So if I could have a key to the building, or if you guys come up with a way that the planning board can have access, we meet the third Monday of every month at 5:30.
I got it in.
Yeah, Jim, let me.
You just need to get in here? You just need to get in here?
No, I need to make photocopies. But if all I can do is get into here, I'll figure the photocopies out, figure that out.
Yeah, you can have a key to here, but I don't know about, I mean, you'll have to do your photocopying earlier, or,
I work full-time, so I'm not gonna be in here during work days. But I'll figure it out.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
So you'll let Kim know?
Yep, I'll let her know to get you a key
Okay.
here.
Perfect.
Anything else? Number 6.
Make a motion to go into executive session on a personnel matter, 1 MRSA 4056A.
Seconded, all in favor? Executive session. 6:54.